JD here, and as you can see, we are back with some league racing action, and this is the final league race of the GASR season and also the final league race of 2024. As you know, the championship has already been decided for the drivers. Carl_24 was very consistent this season. We did miss a couple extra races myself, but ultimately I don't think that really made too much difference. But one thing that is still to fight for is actually the constructors, and I think if we score 18 points, so if he comes second and McLaren doesn't get in the points at all, then we actually win the constructors by I think 2 or 3 points, something like that. So yeah, there was still that to play for. Coming into this race, you can see Zeddy 360, I would say quite confidently, probably the fastest controller player on this entire F1 24 game. He is just absolutely rapid. I can't think of anyone else on a controller who is as fast as him. If you actually check him out on his TikTok, Zeddy 360, if you search that up, he has had many world records on this game. Whenever he tries to go for a world record, he ends up getting it. So he is very fast. You can see this Q2 here, Carl_24 has actually been knocked out. And for my pace coming to this, I was actually very surprised of how much pace I had. I didn't really prepare that much. This is the final race of the season. I've already secured P2 in the championship, won the last race out at Abu Dhabi. And coming to this, I was definitely coming with some confidence. Bahrain's always been a pretty good track for me. And as soon as I started practicing for this, I got on the pace straight away. When I practiced online, I was really happy with my pace. So I was actually quietly optimistic as we were in the lobby waiting to go into this race. You can see going to Q3, we're already in P4. That is on a used set of tyres. So with a brand new set here, let's see what I could do. Go for this first sector, a 28.0, so the fastest man in the first sector. The setup I have actually uploaded to my Discord. So if you click that join button, you'll get access to all of my league racing setups. Become a YouTube member, then click the Discord link and you'll get access to all those. Because this setup here was such a good setup. You'll see in the race, I felt like this is probably the best pace I've had for the entire season. And this setup is quite low in the downforce compared to what I imagine some of the other guys running. So in the race, it's very good. Qualifying, wasn't expected to be on pole. With Zeddy in the lobby, I'm always expecting him to acquire the top position. But this up here, I was really happy. Apart from the double F, where you saw I missed the apex a little bit. Apart from that, it was pretty much a perfect lap. I think could have maybe got like another 10th if I nailed that double left. But everything else was perfect. And for this setup, I was really happy. Going across the line, 26.7.
Pretty happy with that. Really happy, but can't really ask for more than that.
And yeah, exactly. I really could have asked more for that. Zeddy ends up improving to a 26.4, so very impressive. But you'll see again in the race, I think we were definitely running quite a bit lower downforce than him. So we were the quickest man in the first sector. And I think, again, lower downforce always provides a bit of dividends when it comes to the race. So starting P2, really happy with this qualifying. You see McLaren, I'm not sure either of them are in the top 10. So this is actually a really good opportunity for us to acquire the Constructors title. So we've got 5 lights here. And as the lights go out now, we actually get a pretty poor start. I really rushed the throttle there. So I've got a lot of unnecessary wheel spin. It is crucial that I stay with Zeddy here because he always likes to push with the ERS on the first lap. So got to put him under pressure. And if I could, actually make the move. So we get a pretty good exit coming off here. And you guys see, this is a straight line speed. He was using the battery as well, but look at the straight line speed we have. So we're going to go down the inside, going into turn 4. Now we managed to take the lead. And that is perfect because the worst thing you could do when Zeddy is in the lobby is you give him a gap. He is very good at leading a race. So we've got to make sure we're ahead of him. And if you watch this first lap and you'll watch some of the other laps that follow this, my pace here in the race was so good. I was actually starting to create a little bit of a gap between myself and Zeddy and the rest of the field. And you see, coming off this double left-hander, we actually have a pretty decent margin to the cars behind. And again, with the downforce levels I was running, I was very fast in a straight line, which is not just good for the straight line speed, but also means it's a much easier for me to save the battery. Because a lot of people around here are probably running something like 50-50 wings. and that makes it really hard to save the battery. And you can see, look at the gap we have. So we have a pretty significant gap here. But then the virtual safety car comes out. You see, there's a McLaren on the top of the screen. So that's one of the McLarens out. And that isn't Carl, that's his teammate. So for the constructors, this is actually very good. And now full safety cars come out. So we're not going to pit because really starting in the mediums is the best tyre to do around here. If I've pitted for the hards, they're just so slow. So we decided to stay out and not really take that risk. And yeah, so we're going to be starting underneath the safety car, if I could get my words out right, and trying to get a good launch, make sure we keep this track position once again from Zelly. And you'll see again in the straight line, even with the slipstream, we're actually pulling away a little bit, so very fast in the straight line. The most difficult part of this race will be once the mediums go off a little bit towards the end of the stint. That's when I will start to struggle. But then on the hards, if I can stay in this DRS, I think we've got a very good chance of winning this race. But as you skip past that 4, you can see again, look at the gap we have. So our pace in this initial medium stint was so good. And you can see we've got quite a bit of the battery. So if I knew I had this pace, I would have maybe really risked it with the DRS, sorry. I really tried to get out of the DRS zone. But you can see Zeddy is actually coming under attack from EVE Nico. And I saw this as a potential opportunity to actually break the DRS. So now I'm actually going to push a little bit of this battery. But now he has the DRS onto me as well. And going for this midfield section, I was usually still actually quite fast with this setup as well. So just really trying to push as much as possible right now. See, purple first sector. The gap is about 0.6 of a second. So if we can make up this time, make up another 4 tenths. But as we go a little bit deep, so this right-hander, I was always really struggling with that because again, with the low downforce, heavy fuel in the race, always a bit difficult. But as we move to lap 6, you can still see we've got a good amount of battery still on board. And Zeddy looks like he's actually struggling a little bit with the pace. So Nico seems to have pretty good pace right now. So we're not going to fight this too hard. No real point at this stage of the race. My goal was just to try and go as long as he possibly could, because when you go on the hards really take quite a long time to actually warm up. Although they're a durable tyre, they're just a very slow tyre at the start of the stint. So the goal was trying to go as long as you possibly could. So coming towards the end of lap 10, this is where you could start to think about pitting. So we do a little bit of a dummy to the pits, and let's see, does anyone actually do it? So there are some people behind who do it, and you can see again, straight line speed is just absolutely insane. So just trying to navigate this and trying to avoid a little bit of contact with the kick car here. And Zay decides to go around the outside, and you can see we're not even fighting this. There's no real point fighting this. Actually, if anything, I don't actually mind being behind these two guys, because then I want to see when they pit. If they go into the pits, I might follow them. I don't want to be caught out with an undercut. So I was actually fine to sit behind this stage. You can see towards the end of the stint, we were starting to struggle a little bit as Nico and everyone else behind decides to pit. So Zeddy has decided to go, and I could really tell he was really using the battery here. So I think he had a full deployment, 100% of the battery. And you see coming to the exit of this corner, and for this whole lap, he was really pushing with the ERS. I think he was trying to create a gap or trying to do a little bit of an overcut if he could. So coming towards the end of the lap, you can see again, we're struggling a little bit with the slow downforce, but you can see Zeddy is really pushing. We've almost used our entire battery. You can see the tyres are quite worn at this stage as well. So I was definitely going to be pitting this lap, 100%. You can see 2 green sectors, so the tyres are still good. So we're going to go in, and Zeddy, big risk from him because I imagine he had no ERS at all. You can see he sets the fastest lap of the race as well. So yeah, we could maybe, well, we're not really going to be undercutted that much at all. So we decided to pit for the hard tyres, make sure track position, because I was very confident Zeddy had no battery on his out lap. So next lap we should be coming out right alongside him, and a lap fresher of tyres isn't going to be a huge difference. You can see we have been undercutted just a little bit, even though we were pushing, but we come out just behind Almond, so now we get access to DRS. So this is absolutely perfect. But what you're about to see here changes the whole scope of this race. Virtual safety car has now come out, and this is not good because under the virtual safety car, when Zeddy is out in the lead, he is not losing anywhere near as much time. And this virtual safety car, I don't think I've seen one last almost an entire lap. And Zeddy has now gone into the pits. We're still under the virtual safety car. And because we're not traveling anywhere near full racing speed, he has just now gained so much time. And you're about to hear me say in a second here, Zeddy, he's now coming out of the pits here now, about to hear me say.
Yeah, he's won the race by a mile now.
And because of that, he's actually gained so much time. If we were going at full speed, we would have probably come out ahead of him. Now under the virtual safety car, because we weren't going at racing speed, he's gained about 10 or so seconds, and he's on the fresher tyres. It's really his race to lose now. So you can see he's going through the double left. We're not even going into it. That's how much time you gain under the virtual safety car. And I think he was a pretty lucky boy there, because he had no ERS, and that was the perfect timing. We actually took the initiative once to try and get a bit of track position, and there's just nothing I could do. And it was just a very unlucky virtual safety car, which really benefited him and was really unfortunate for us. So now we're fighting for a net P2 here. And again, the constructors is online, because I wasn't even really aware at this stage, but if I finished behind Alma, if I finished P3, I would be, well, we wouldn't be getting the constructors title. McLaren would be winning it. And you can see Carl, he pitted under the safety car on the first lap, so he's been on these tyres since lap 2. I think he's still trying to make this work, and he decides not to fight this at all. So we get this move done, and you can still see how much more of a benefit it is to have the fresher tyres. And now we're in a net P2, and I think the only people who still haven't pitted, I think Sainz hasn't pitted, and GASR Dennis up ahead. You can see Nico, I think, has gone on the medium tyre again, so I'm not sure if he meant to do that. I'm pretty sure he didn't. So right now, our goal is to get P2, because with that virtual safety car, there was absolutely nothing we could do. So it's such a shame, because I was really looking forward to having a pretty good battle with him. But now I've just got to be very tactical with Alman. We've had a bit of a history in this league racing season in terms of incidents. You can see we've caught up to the kick of GSR Dennis here, and I've just got to make sure I don't lose the DRS to Alman, who again is a very, very fast driver. So you can see we're not really pushing too hard here. I was very confident I could get him on the exit of the turn 2, but then he actually decides to let me go, so fair play to him. He knew there was no real fight there, and drop it there. But you can see Sainz is 7.8 seconds. He pitted on the end of lap 1 under that safety car, and you can see skipping on now, because all I did really was just follow Alman, making sure I had all the battery. And now we're right up behind Sainz. So this is really important for the constructors. If I finish P3 or below, we do not win the constructors. I think Carl is outside of the points. You see that McLaren coming off turn 3 now, going to turn 4. That is Carl. So unknown to me, I need to get P2 in this race to secure the constructors for Ferrari this season. So I think what I was doing here was very tactical. So I knew I wasn't wanting to overtake Alman going into turn 1, because then he would have the DRS on the exit of turn 2 into turn 4. My goal was to overtake him going into turn 4, kind of force him to go offline into turn 1, get a bad exit through turn 2, and then we get him there. But now we've got to navigate Sainz as well, so we've got to make sure we get past him. So 100% make sure we get past him. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of a dummy go into turn 1, force him to go in deep, compromise his line. I still get the DRS for the exit this corner, and with the straight line speed, you're about to see a straight line speed. But I know Alman is a very aggressive driver, so instead of trying to go around the outside, we let him outbrake himself. We go for the switchback, get a very, very nice switchback up into P2 now. I know from my experience with Alman, he doesn't give up corners. I knew he'd probably be braking very late, so really anticipated that very well. You can see Zeddy, 10.9 second lead. Yeah, that virtual safety car meant that he pretty much won this race. So this is the absolute best we could do, but we've got to try and secure P2. I wasn't aware of the constructors, like I've been saying, but I really wanted to finish off the season on a high. But I know Alman is going to be very, very determined to try and beat me in this race. So got to be very tactical with our ERS here, so not use it when I absolutely do not have to. And I was pretty sure that he was going to be running very low on the ERS as well. So coming off into here, use a little bit of the battery, not all of it, so don't go underneath that 10%. Defend this inside, so make sure he doesn't want to go down his inside. It's very difficult to go around the outside here. And then coming off this corner, he's going to have DRS, but it comes up very, very late. And you can see with the straight line speed, with the ERS, we managed to secure P2. And I can confirm,
GG.
we have won the Constructors for Ferrari in this season. So overall, this race, very unfortunate with that virtual safety car. Nothing really else I could have done. I think we pitted on the perfect lap. If there's no virtual safety car, we would have been right with Zelly. He probably would have come out actually behind us on the next lap. But yeah, I feel my pace was really, really good. You can see in the race in the first stint, very, very strong. And yeah, a very, very good end to the season. So that is league racing on the year 2024. We will be back in January with a brand new season of the GASR series. I'll be uploading some iRacing content from some other games, older F1 games as well. I really, really hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like access to my setups, my league racing setups, make sure you hit that join button, become a YouTube member. You can speak to me directly, and also visit www.coachsherbs.com. I've opened up my coaching slots for 2025 from January onwards, so thank you so much for the support, and I'll be catching you very, very soon. Peace.